David Pakman joined a recent Piers Morgan panel to discuss Trump and all the various issues surrounding him, with the likes of Benny Johnson also on the panel, which of course made for a multitude of interesting moments, all of which we're going to take a look at and try to provide some context for, starting with, will Trump win?
I think Trump's going to lose either way. And why do I think that? Because Republicans have lost everything since Trump won in 2016. 2018 was a disaster. Trump lost 2020. The red wave of 2022 led to Democrats getting a bigger majority in the Senate. The 2023 special off-year elections, every abortion-related referendum, it's been a disaster. So Trump's going to lose regardless. I don't know how much of an impact this verdict is going to have.
This is a great point to make. It's one that I commonly make myself as well, because it off the bat destroys the narrative that Democrats fear Trump and have to do anything they can to get rid of him, because it largely makes no sense when Trump has been a net benefit to Democrats since he came around. I mean, well, first off, he's never once won the popular vote. And since he did barely squeak out an electoral college win in 2016, Republicans have lost everything since. He had 3 million less votes than Hillary Clinton, who, by the way, was under a literal criminal investigation. 7 million less votes than Biden, who Trump said had dementia. Candidates close to Trump lost in 2018, largely because of his messaging is why Republicans lost the House that year. And the red wave in 2022, where Trump backed numerous candidates, only led to Democrats overperforming and Republicans almost losing the House there as well. And Democrats clean sweep special elections in 2023. So this fantasy, the fiction that Republicans love to spew, that Trump is this grave danger to Democrats, is hilarious considering he's a perennial loser for his party. And even Republicans themselves have largely tried to get rid of him until realizing they couldn't, and then switching back to support him in hopes that, they can stay in power. The only thing Republicans really care about. Trump was impeached twice with support of Republicans in the House. When it failed, and only when it failed, then did they back him to win in 2020. January 6th happened. Multiple Republicans, from Nancy Mace, J.D. Vance, some of his staunchest supporters now, came out saying good riddance and tried to distance themselves and Trump from the party. When he only then becomes the front runner, are they now back supporting him? So he almost definitely wasn't going to win before any of the shenanigans. And if anything, it coming out that he cheated on his wife with a porn star, him being liable for sexual assault, where the judge said by all definitions he raped E. Jean Carroll, and now him being a convicted felon, only solidifies that. The only people it's going to rile up are his base that were already going to vote for him, and as shown since 2016 is not enough to win. Let's see what Pakman had to say, however, about the Bill Clinton comparison that Piers loves to put in front of people.
And they will shout a double standard, and Trump will martyr himself at the altar of double standard, and he will have, I would say, a really compelling case, where a lot of people who didn't agree with him about 2020 being nicked are now going to look at him and go, he's got a point.
Yeah.
The flaw is that there was nothing illegal about Bill Clinton settling that lawsuit, and they were not campaign contributions disguised in this way, which was determined to be criminal. I think Trump will make himself a martyr either way. He's a victim of the system of elections being rigged. He's a victim of the justice system being rigged. He's a victim of the media rigging his microphone and the temperature in the debates. He's always going to be a victim of everything. They've lost everything since 2016, Piers. Of course he's going to be the victim, because he can't just admit, for the last 8 years, I've destroyed this political party.
This is spot on. I mean, there's nothing illegal about settling a lawsuit. He didn't use campaign contributions to pay it off, and he was impeached for it, and then Republicans won the next election. So there was clear backlash for his actions, but he didn't lie about using campaign contributions in an attempt to bolster his electoral chances. Anyone trying to say they're even slightly the same thing is just pointing fingers to show bias. I mean, they're both sleazebags for sure, but if we're being honest, if Trump was being charged for being a sleazebag, he'd be a 100 count felon, not a 34 count felon. And David is also right. When Trump only passed one bill as president that only sent us further into debt and didn't help the middle and working class nearly the way that Trump said he would, and he's also single-handedly responsible for 8 straight years of Republican losses, the only move he can make is to say, well, I've been victimized at every step.
That my fellow panelists may be part of, and that's called being a Stalinist. If you like this kind of thing, you're a Stalinist. You're a show me the man, I'll show you the crime kind of sycophant, psychotic, dictatorial tyrant. And this is the type of nature that has overtaken what used to be called the Democratic Party. Alan Dershowitz is part of it. This is Stalinism.
The main problem with this argument he's trying to bring here is this is a state case brought by a state DA who was elected by the people of New York, not appointed. The charges were indicted by a grand jury of Americans, and he was convicted for those crimes by a grand jury of Americans. So can anyone tell me where Biden fits in there? It's almost like he just doesn't. And I also want to address the name Matthew Colangelo, because this is the most recent right-wing conspiracy that's going around, that they've thrown around to say, see, the Biden DOJ has to be responsible for this, because for a time he did work in the Biden DOJ. So of course, Biden obviously directed him to go work with Bragg, right? I mean, right-wingers have absolutely no proof of this, but he definitely did it if you ask them. So let's just quickly debunk this because it's really stupid and frail and easy to do so. Colangelo was never a permanent member of the Biden DOJ. He was the acting associate general while waiting for a permanent appointment. The reason he stepped aside, lo and behold, the permanent appointment was made, which, by the way, Bragg began his investigations in January 2021. His predecessors were already looking into investigations. So really they started before then, like in 2020, prior to Bragg even being in office. But Colangelo left the DA in April 2021 and was hired by Bragg in December 2022. So he joined a year and a half after leaving the DOJ and almost 2 years after the investigations had started. And right-wingers are saying this is proof that they only are investigating Trump because of Biden, and that the Biden DOJ guy is the reason they're doing it, even though it started 2 years before he got there. And by the way, he has extensive experience specifically investigating Trump during his presidency, has won cases against Trump and his businesses, and he literally worked with Alvin Bragg as well, including on cases relating to Trump and his businesses. But right-wingers will pretend that he stepped down from a permanent and lucrative role in the DOJ to go work for Bragg, and it's all just fiction.
I remember Donald Trump leading chants of lock her up about Hillary Clinton. Does that make him a Stalinist?
So did that happen is the question.
Yeah, he would be at rallies.
Yes.
He'd be at rallies and say, hang on.
On Hillary. No, because I judge a man by his actions. Like, did he act on that? Did Donald Trump lay a finger on Hillary Clinton? Did anyone direct any special counsel to ever look into Hillary Clinton?
There was a special counsel on Hillary Clinton. The Whitewater Council was directed against Hillary Clinton. And yes, there were many actions taken against Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton.
I couldn't even imagine being this confidently wrong. He starts by saying, if you say lock your opponent up, you're a Stalinist. They prove that Trump said it, so he quickly switches courses and says, well, okay, but it's actions, not words. Did he ever take actions? And then they prove that he literally took actions as well. And he's like, what do what does it even matter? I don't got anything to say anymore. Trump's DOJ literally said that no reasonable prosecutor could bring a case against Hillary, but there were absolutely special counsels appointed into investigating her. And Benny represents the sentiment of MAGA in that regard, that they just want to own the libs pretty much and not take it coming to them. When their president was literally saying, and then did, weaponize the DOJ, they rallied behind it. They cheered him on. But when grand juries convict their candidate, they scramble to try to find ways that Joe Biden is doing it. And all of a sudden, it's a bad thing now. It's just hilarious. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, and commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you want to support, because the only way we become a society is together.